Small, medium, large. Today we're comparing these gimbals from Zhiyun. The Zhiyun Crane M3S, the Weebill 3S, and the Zhiyun Cinepeer Crane 4E. If you're unsure of which one might be right for you, you might find that out by the end of today's video. This is the smallest one, the Crane M3S. If you wanted a cheaper version of this, you could probably get the previous version of this, the Crane M3. Also, when talking about the Weebill 3S, you could also consider a budget version of pretty much the exact or almost the exact same gimbal, and the Zhiyun Weebill 3E, from the Cinepeer line. That's a budget version of this sort of medium-sized gimbal. The Weebill 3S has some slight improvements over it, but it's going to cost you a little bit more. But in terms of class and category, they're pretty much very similar. So the cheapest one out of all of these is going to be the smallest one, the Zhiyun Crane M3S, coming at about $250 US at the time of the making of this video for gimbal only. The Weebill 3S is about $320 for just the gimbal, and the Crane Cinepeer 4E is about $490 US. All of these prices are as of the making of this video right now, but you're also usually able to find deals on them. So depending on your needs and the camera lenses that you have, that's going to help determine which one of these gimbals you're going to need. You also find out if any of these gimbals suit your needs, and generally, who are they for. The Crane M3S is the smallest and the lightest one of them all at 1.5 pounds. Due to its small and compact size, it folds very nicely and even fits in a small backpack. It has a battery runtime of about 7 hours and can charge in about 2 hours with fast charge. The Weebill 3S is also a compact and lightweight gimbal at about 2.3 pounds for gimbal only, and depending on the backpack that you have, you might be able to get it to fit it. It has a battery life of about 11.5 hours and a charge time of 2 hours with fast charging. You can also get with this a sling grip and a wrist rest, which allows you to get low angle shots a lot easier, and it's also, believe it or not, quite ergonomic and more comfortable when you have this wrist rest here. The Crane 4E is going to be your full-size gimbal, and it weighs about 3.6 pounds. Although this is heavier than the other two gimbals, it is still quite lightweight for a full-size gimbal. It might not fit well within the backpack and is not very compact or travel friendly. But in terms of battery, it has a battery life of about 11.5 hours, and it also charges in about 2 hours with fast charging. You have the option to get the extra sling grip as well as wrist rest as well. In terms of design, the M3S has a fill light as well as the M3S. The Cinepeer Crane 4E does not have a fill light. The design here on the Weebill 3S and the Crane 4 is very similar, where you can hold your gimbal with the right hand and control the thumb or the joystick like this, as well as the Crane 4E. Whereas the M3S is a little bit more different. The screens on the M3S and on the Crane 4E are a little bit more advanced. They have a touch screen control, whereas this one on the Weebill 3S, it's a little bit more on the older side. The quick release plate mechanism on the Crane M3S is a little bit different. It has its own proprietary little quick release plate, almost like a mini V-mount sort of release right here. And unfortunately, it's not compatible to an Arca-Swiss tripod or Manfrotto tripod. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The Weebill 3S has this Manfrotto long plate design. You are also able to attach this Arca-Swiss plate for your Arca-Swiss tripods as well. But unfortunately, there's no quick release system for this, so you're gonna have to attach it to this screw here on this long plate and then attach your camera. Because it's so inconvenient like that, I most of the time just use it with this Manfrotto long plate. The Crane 4E has this little plate by Zhiyun where you can just have your camera mounted onto this little plate that you can release. And that way you don't have to mess with this Manfrotto long plate. You can alternatively just disregard this and then just have your camera on this long plate if you have also a Manfrotto long plate tripod. All three gimbals have also 3-axis locks for the gimbal, so that's a pro. So the Zhiyun Crane M3S is a great gimbal for phones and small camera configurations. Zhiyun does not have a specific payload, but they have a full compatibility list on their website with which camera bodies and lens configurations this gimbal would be able to handle. And I think more than payload, what camera and lens configurations you'll be able to use really depends on that length and also weight of the lens and how that contributes to the overall center of gravity. A standard Sony 24-70 lens is not included in the list for this gimbal, so I think anything around that size and weight is probably out of the question. This gimbal is really meant for shorter zooms or wide angle zooms like a Tamron 17-28 for example, or for lightweight prime lenses. I tried using a Tamron 28-75 on this gimbal with a full frame camera, a Sony a7 IV, and although I was able to get it to turn on, I would not recommend it just because I think the motors are not made to handle this much weight. You might be able to get it to work, but I doubt the footage that you'll get will be buttery smooth like you're supposed to get on a gimbal. So I think it's a little bit too heavy and I would not recommend it. The Zhiyun Weebill 3S is able to handle a lot more camera and lens configurations, and it can easily handle a standard zoom of a 24-70. I have it here with a Tamron 28-75 and it handles it really well. I also tried a Sigma 100mm lens on this gimbal with a full frame body, and again, it also handled it quite well. I wouldn't try a 70-200 though on this gimbal. I think that's a little bit too heavy for this, and you probably won't be able to get good results with that setup. The Crane 4E is able to handle a lot more heavy setups, bigger camera bodies and heavier lenses. So with the 70-200, you'll be able to balance that and run that on the Crane 4E. There's also a lot more space in the cradle of this gimbal, so you're able to even mount a camera body with a cage and other accessories. In terms of vertical filming, the Crane M3S is super handy. All you need to do is just attach an extra tripod leg to the 1/4 inch thread here on the side, and all you need to do is just turn it sideways, and now you have your gimbal in vertical mode. And you can quickly swap back and forth between vertical and horizontal. With the other two gimbals, even though they do both have vertical modes, you do have to turn the gimbals off, slide the plate out, and mount that vertical plate back on. Again, this is not a overly complicated or long process, but you do have to slightly rebalance once you switch from horizontal to vertical mode. So which one should you get? The Crane M3S is the most affordable, and it's aimed, in my opinion, at vloggers and content creators, or people who want a gimbal that is light enough to pack for traveling. And if your camera and lens combination is not very heavy, then this is probably going to be the perfect travel gimbal for you. Another good thing about this small gimbal is that you tend to not attract too much attention when you have a smaller camera body and a small gimbal. It's a little bit more subtle, and that might be something you want depending on where you're filming. I was able to easily carry this in my backpack on a couple of trips that I've been to, and I was very happy that it was so lightweight and so small and convenient to bring along. The Weebill 3S is a mid-range option designed for filmmakers. It is good enough for most medium-sized setups, and it can be definitely used in client work and more professional settings. This is also a great gimbal for run and gun, event filmmaking like weddings, because it's so compact and lightweight. The Zhiyun Cinepeer Crane 4E is the most expensive one, but it's still cheaper than the regular non-Cinepeer version of the Zhiyun Crane 4. It's definitely built for more professional videographers or filmmakers, and it can handle a heavier payload. This is not as compact or as travel friendly as the other gimbals because it's a lot bigger. If you have a heavier setup too, this is also a great alternative for run and gun filmmaking or weddings and events. So that's it for today's video. I hope that through this video, you're able to get a better idea of what gimbal or which size class of gimbal you should be getting from the Zhiyun line. And let me know which one you think you're getting, or if you currently have a gimbal, which one do you have? I would love to hear about it. And if you're still watching, here are a couple of videos you could watch next, and I'll see you there.